It's been 9 months since the launch of Xiaomi 12 Pro in India, and it's still the best Xiaomi smartphone which money can buy. Well, at least in India. The price of this smartphone has gone down by a bit from the time of its launch, and is it still worth buying? Let's find out. Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of FitTech, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Close to 9 months ago, I bought this Xiaomi 12 Pro smartphone. At that time, this was the best Xiaomi smartphone which money could buy. Until now in India, this is the best Xiaomi smartphone which you can buy. 9 months is a very long period, especially in tech world, and बहुत सारी चीज़ें बदल चुकी हैं, अपग्रेड हो चुकी हैं. So आज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं some of the factors of this smartphone which still impresses me, and some of the areas in which they could have impressed in over this period of time, but still they chose to ignore. And if you are really considering buying this one, will it be a worthy investment for you? So without wasting any time, let's get started. Before that, इसमें बेसिकली 3 वेरिएंट्स है, 8228, 8256 एंड 12256. और मेरे पास है दी मैक्स आउट वर्जन विच इज 12256 with UFS 3.1 storage. So we go through all specs one by one and we'll be discussing how they've been holding up. Let's start with the chipset. This has got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset and the latest one is 8 Gen 2. And 8 Gen 1 is still a very powerful processor and it can handle any sort of applications with ease. If I'm not mistaken, 8 Gen 1 was the first 4nm processor by Qualcomm, and Xiaomi 12 Pro was the first Android smartphone to have 8 Gen 1 on board. It comes with Adreno 730 GPU, so it can handle any sort of graphics intensive tasks or games without any problem. The latest 8 Gen 2 is supposedly 20% faster than the 8 Gen 1, and 8 Gen 2 में आपको Adreno 740 मिलेगा and 8 Gen 1 में आपको Adreno 730 मिलता है. Some of the major differences between 8 Gen 2 and 8 Gen 1 is that 8 Gen 2 में आपको Wi-Fi 7 का support मिलेगा as compared to Wi-Fi 6 on the 8 Gen 1, and also 8 Gen 2 supports UFS 4 storage as compared to 8 Gen 1 which supports up to UFS 3.1. But to a larger extent, there is no significant performance boost in 8 Gen 2 as compared to 8 Gen 1, and you will not miss out on much if you have a smartphone with 8 Gen 1 processor. I'll put a link just below the like button which compares 8 Gen 2 and 8 Gen 1 processors. So the point is, when it comes to CPU and GPU, this is still a rock solid performer. This will give you the best, if not the second best performances when it comes to CPU and GPU intensive tasks. Talking about the display, this has got LTPO AMOLED with 120Hz refresh rate. It's got Dolby Vision, HDR10 Plus with a brightness of 1000 nits and it peaks at 1500 nits. And like every other flagship smartphone, इसमें आपको FHD Plus या WQHD Plus resolution select करने का option मिलता है, and you can go for 60, 90 or 120 static refresh rates, or you can go for something called as variable refresh rate जो 1 से लेकर 120 Hz तक automatically refresh rate change करता रहेगा based on the content you are consuming. So, how is the display? It's a very good and a very vibrant screen. The color which comes out of this, they pop out, and the color representations is also accurate. The edges on this display are quite curved, so आपको screen guard ढूंढने में थोड़ा problem हो सकता है, लेकिन आप OnePlus 9 Pro का जो screen guard मिलेगा ना, which is generally available in all the smartphone shops, वो आप use कर सकते हो जैसा मैं use कर रहा हूँ. And since it is a LTPO AMOLED display, you can always select the always on display and it won't take a toll on the battery. Let's talk about the battery. It has got a 4600 mAh battery, and it's been average to good from day one. And the best part is the battery has not degraded over the period of this 9 months. Meaning to say, right now I get close to 5 to 5.5 hours of on-screen time, and it's been the same from day one, which I think is amazing. So the battery performance, even though it's been average to good, it's been consistent from day one. So up tak I never had any issues with battery degradation in this one. It supports wired charging up to 120 watt, wireless charging up to 50 watt, and it has got 10 watt reverse charging also. अगर आप इसको 120 वाट वायर्ड चार्जिंग पे रखोगे तो आप 0 to 100 यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट बिटवीन 30 to 35 minutes, and the 120 watt brick is also included in the box, which is amazing. If you want to know about its gaming performance and battery life while gaming, तो मैंने एक पूरा वीडियो बना के रखा है. You can check it somewhere here. Now let's talk about the software and its software updates. It's running the MIUI 13.0.9, and for a period of this 9 months, I think I've got close to 3 to 4 updates, including the software patches as well. So it does looks like Xiaomi is giving its software updates as well as security patches on time as promised. Now let's talk about the camera setup. This is where things get a little bit more spicy as well as a bit confusing. Let me explain. This has got a triple camera setup and all the 3 sensors on this are 50 megapixel sensor. तो आप वाइड यूज़ करो, अल्ट्रा वाइड यूज़ करो या टेलीफोटो यूज़ करो, आपको 50 मेगापिक्सल का सेंसर ही मिलने वाला है, विच इज़ गुड. एंड दिस 50 मेगापिक्सल इज़ नॉट एनेबल्ड बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट, तो आपको ये मैन्युअली एनेबल करना पड़ता है, क्योंकि 50 मेगापिक्सल का जो आउटपुट फाइल होगा उसका फाइल साइज होगा बहुत बड़ा, एंड यू डोंट वांट दैट because it has got no expansion of storage. The sensor size definitely helps here क्योंकि 50 megapixel images जो आते हैं they are quite sharp and quite clean as well. And also this probably has the best panorama mode I have ever used in any smartphone. The panorama images which are coming out of this sensor are actually sharp and clean, which you don't get to see in panorama mode of other smartphones. It has got tons of features like AI, HDR, raw photo, etc, etc, and there are a lot of modes here which can actually help you in taking more creative shots. वीडियो के बारे में बात करते हैं. This can take 8K videos at 24 fps, 4K up to 60 fps, 1080p up to 960 fps, and you can take super slow videos at 720p up to 1920 fps. इसमें आपको इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इमेज स्टेबलाइजेशन भी मिलेगा. Stabilization actually works quite well in this system. As you can see here, I'm not doing any sort of crazy ninja walk or stuff like that. I'm just holding the camera in my hand, I'm walking straight, and the video coming out of this are very well stabilized. The problem is that its color output both in images and videos is highly oversaturated. It's oversaturated to an extent कि it's nowhere close to its original image. I do know a thing or two about photography and color, and I don't like this much of saturation in any image. Yeah, you can simply open any editing software and lower the saturation by a couple of points and you should be good to go. But the idea of smartphone photography and videography for a lot of folks, including me, is that कि आप smartphone निकालोगे, immediately capture करोगे, and if possible you want to upload it to your social media handles. But as I said earlier, it's nowhere close to the reality, and it kind of changes the vibe of the photo also. It's, as I said, it's way too oversaturated. The color doesn't look natural, and as a photographer you don't feel like you have actually captured the moment. At least that's how I feel when you're getting those oversaturated images. This has been my biggest gripe about this smartphone, and it has kind of demotivated me not to use the camera a lot. I used to use this smartphone called as Realme GT Master Edition. Very bad sensor, noisy images, but at least the colors were accurate in that, and I used to take a bit more photos on that one as compared to this one. As I said earlier, there has been multiple software updates, but Xiaomi hasn't really bothered to fix this color issue. So yeah, that's been my experience in the past 8 to 9 months with this smartphone, guys. If you're planning to buy this, here's a small advice from my end. Currently the 12 and 256 GB variant is selling at 54 to 56k if I'm not wrong, and I think it's slightly on the higher end. अगर ये smartphone 12 plus 256 आपको let's say 42 to 45 या 40 to 45 में मिलने वाला है, then it's a steal. You can easily go ahead and buy it, and you will have to make some adjustment if you don't like oversaturated images. That's a given. But if you have the money, I would say wait for the 13 Pro, which should be releasing in probably a couple of months. Hopefully it will have better camera system. At least they should have addressed this high saturation issue. That's all, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. If you have any questions, post it in the comment section. Hit me on Instagram. I'll be more than happy to address them all for you. So yeah, that's it. Talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.